Hey, welcome back, my friend. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but summer is somewhat coming to an end, and for many of you, that means you have a child going off to college. Either as a freshman, or maybe they went last year and they're moving somewhere else, but they are getting ready to leave. You're making the trips to Target or IKEA and buying furniture, and they are moving on. And I think as a dad, it's important that we send our kids off with the right information. And I know hopefully you still have a month, you still have August to get them there. But I think if you haven't had some of these conversations, I think it's important to start now so you're not sitting down and having like this lecture session with your kid as they're going off to college. So these are 9 things that I think every dad should talk about when they are sending off their child to anything. It could be college, it could be military, it could be trade school, it could just be that they're moving out on their own. These are great 9 conversations that you should have. 1, you are no longer the pilot of their life. For a long time, kids filter everything through their parents. They're asking, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? I think it's important that you explain that, hey, I will always be there for you. I am your dad. I love you. I think you're going to do great things, but you are now the pilot and I am the co-pilot. I am going to transition to the friend, the guide, I want to be there to help. And I think it's important that you say those words, that hey, you're going to start making these decisions. And I want to let you know that I will always be there for you, but these are now your decisions. You don't want them to feel isolated, like, hey, everything's on you, I'm not going to help. I'm going to let my kids know that my job is to help them for the rest of their lives. But they're going to make decisions. And I might not agree with them. And I think this is more important. You let your kids know that they can do things that you don't agree with, but you're going to give them your take on that. And that's all it is your take. And I think if you have a 16-year-old and they still have a couple of years of going away, that's the time to actually start this, where you obviously are responsible for them, but you let them know, like, hey, here's a few things, a few options. Which one do you want? You stop telling them, I think even a little bit earlier than 18, what you want them to do or not do. And you let them start taking possession of those decisions. I think that's important. Let your kids know that they are in the driver's seat, that this is their life, and you are always going to help guide them. You're always going to show them directions. You're always going to point the GPS and say, hey, based on what I've seen in my life, if you want to get to where you're going, want to go, this seems like the best path, but ultimately you are driving. Number 2, you need to let them know that just because they have made these decisions, that failing is going to be okay and that they can always come home. Let them know that home is a safe place. Let them know that the decisions they make, the odds are really, really good, especially when it comes to college, that they're not going to graduate with the degree that they thought they were starting. I think a lot of times when you make up your mind, you tell the world, I want to be a doctor, and you go to college and you get into your first chemistry class and you think, I hate this. There's no way I could do this. And you feel like a failure when you say, well, maybe I don't want to be a doctor, but maybe I really want to be a physical therapist because that's, I don't like the chemistry side. I like the talking to people and the exercising. Let your kids know, hey, that's going to happen. Not probably, but that is going to happen. And if you do a whole year of college and you realize, I don't like this experience, it's not where I want to be, come home. Home is safe. You are, I'm not going to turn your room into, my art studio. You have a place to go. Home is always safe. The decisions you make are probably you're going to pivot because you don't know what you don't know yet. Home is a safe place. Number 3, you need to let them, and this is a hard one, show them, tell them, demonstrate, tell stories from your life that the decisions they make have higher consequences, especially when it comes to sex, drugs, and alcohol. If your kid got in trouble for drinking alcohol in high school, you probably grounded them. There might have been some, minor consequences. They are now adults. They get in the car after they're driving drunk and they hit somebody and kill them. They are going to jail. I guess wish that would happen when they were younger as well, but you know what I mean. The consequences of their decisions as adults are much bigger. Unprotected sex leads to kids, leads to responsibilities, leads to, drama. Let them know that their consequences are bigger for good and bad. They can actually, they're going to be responsible for their decisions, and that might be an awesome thing. They might do great things, but that they are now adults, and the decisions they make will change the rest of their life. The person that they start to date will affect them, even if that's not the person they're going to marry. If that person is crazy, the trauma and the drama in their life is going to have big consequences. They are adults. They're making their own decisions. You're there to help them. But their consequences are their consequences, and they can be huge and life-altering. I guess this is the fear of God moment. Number 4, let them know that they are no longer in the safest environment possible. They are going to a college town. They're going with people they don't know, people who they haven't gone up with, people who you haven't filtered for them. Hopefully you are filtering the people you let your kids, young kids especially, come in contact with. They're going to college. They're going to be around people. Some are good, some are bad, and they shouldn't, I say can't because they probably will. They shouldn't be walking around with their heads down in their phone. They shouldn't be walking around fully trusting everybody they meet and assuming everybody is a good person. They need to put on their street smarts a little bit. Just letting them know that, hey, you're going to come in contact with people who come from different places, have different morals, different values. They're not going to be like you. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right. Do something, think of something different. Life is different. Put on your street smarts. Stay safe. Don't walk by yourself. Have friends that that you would want to bring home to your parents. That's important. Number 5, mental health is something that they've maybe never had to worry about. College is lonely. It's the first time they don't have built-in friends. College is a different environment. Let them know it's okay to feel lonely, and if they need help, to reach out and get help. When you're enrolling them, find out where the counselors are. Take them to the office. Have an introduction. Hey, this is my son and daughter. I just want to let them know who you are, what services you offer. Don't let them feel isolated and trapped, and encourage them to stay off of social media if they're feeling lonely and to call you. Be that co-pilot that they need. Just remind them that they're about to do something they've never done, and the odds of them being good at it are slim, so ask for help. Number 6, if you are not paying for your kids' education, you need to show them the true cost of the debt they are borrowing. I listen to The Ramsey Show, which is a show on personal finance, but it's really about life, and the amount of young people that call in that are 25, kids out of college, and they look at this debt they have, $60,000 to $120,000 is the cost of education in Michigan, where I live, for public education, $60,000 to $120,000. I took the lowest number at $60,000 at 6% with the 10-year repayment plan. The monthly bill is $666. They will pay an additional $20,000 in interest. If they decide on the 25-year plan, it will be $385 for 25 years, and they'll pay an additional $55,000 in interest. They need to know that. Don't hide that from your kids. If you're doing the Parent Plus loan and you expect your kids to pay you back, let them know ahead of time. Not just say, hey, I'm going to take this money out for you, but I expect you to pay me back. And then 4 years later, you start sending them the bill. That's not fair on them. They need to see that the bill is going to be $666 a month. You're going to pay that for 10 years, and you're going to owe an additional $20,000. If your kids don't want to go to the school that you want them to go to, and you're not paying for that, do not pressure them. That's not fair to them. To force them into a school, you went there so that they need to go there, but they're paying for it, and it's way more expensive than it would be to do 2 years at community college and 2 years at a university, and that's the plan they want. That's not fair to them. Do not pressure them to go to a school because of the status of that you're going to experience if you're not going to pay it. Now, if you're paying for it and you want to put some stipulations on it, that's your money. Go for it. But they need to understand the true cost of going to college, and it's not fair if you don't. So please, please, please let them know that. When you're talking about money and things, this is also a really good time just to start asking them questions, things that maybe you think they know how to do and they don't know how to do it. My 8-year-old just this year went to go tie. I asked her to tie her shoes and she said, I can't. My other kids were tying their shoes at 5 or 6 years old, and we realized that she wears a uniform. She wears the same shoes to school every day, and they've been Velcro or elastic the whole time. She can tie her shoes now, but she couldn't. I didn't ask if she could, and she told me she couldn't. What in your life for your 18-year-old did you forget to teach them? How to do the laundry, how credit cards work, how, the importance of getting 8 hours of sleep, how to make a doctor's appointment if they need to. What are these life skills that you have not showed them that you need to? And then you got a couple months, you got a couple days, show them. This is how you do the laundry. This is how you put money into your bank account. This is how you take money out of your bank account. This is how credit cards work. I saw someone that didn't know that Apple Pay was real money. Have these conversations with your 18-year-old so they don't go into this world looking stupid. You don't want your kid to look stupid or even feel stupid. Number 8. Advocating for their benefit inside of school. In high school, hopefully they had teachers that cared about them. And when they didn't turn in an assignment, the teachers would, hey, don't forget, you owe me an assignment. You owe me an assignment. A professor in college doesn't care that you didn't turn it in. They just fail you. That information, it has to be given to your future college student. Let them know that going to college is their job. And while grades are important, they're probably not the most important thing, but it is now their full-time job, and they have to advocate for their own success. Meaning, if they don't agree with something, they need to send the professor an email. They need to go and talk to the professor. They have to do that. That is their responsibility. Their professor is not going to go out of their way to make their life better. That is their responsibility. And then show them how to do that. Hey, you don't agree with a grade? These are the office hours. Help them do that. Go back to the co-pilot thing. Hey, if you have a problem with a professor, call me and we'll talk through the conversation, and then you as the student go and have it. I think it's so important that they make that mental switch. They're not kids. They're young adults. They have to make things happen. The last one, number 9, the college experience should be fun, should be enjoyable. But the educational part is probably only 20, 30, 40%, depending on the degree. The connections they make inside that college are the ones that are going to ultimately shape their life down the road. You need a 4-year degree to apply to a lot of jobs. But in order to actually get into the job, you probably need to know somebody. And by joining clubs, joining organizations, making friends, that is how you become a successful person. I did a podcast a couple weeks ago about the number one factor of living a long, healthy life, and it was connections. Those connections hopefully will start in college. They will take them to the better job instead of the average job. Encourage them to get out of their dorm room, go and join clubs, meet people, and have fun, and really enjoy the experience because they have dictated how it's going to go, not because the world is. Let them know that they are the hammer and the world is the nail, and they can make things happen. And I think you'll be less stressed, they will be more happy, and the whole experience will be more enjoyable. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. My name is Danny Dumas, and I will talk to you later. Bye.